In this lesson, we're going to build and attach the ear. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to our left view, and we're going to create a cylinder to get us started here. Now before we build that, let's select the head and hit Alt-X so we can see through it. And then let's go ahead and grab our cylinder and just drag this up to about the size of the ear that we want here. Now, once we've created that ear, let's put it in place. And you'll notice we get a little bit of difference in shape. Now to make this a little bit easier on us, I'm going to change the size of our ear, and we're going to change this down to about 8, just to make things much easier to attach this. Now, to get started, let's convert it to editable poly, and I'm going to go ahead and start shaping this ear to match what I see in my reference image. So I'm going to pull this up, and we'll take these out. Okay, and we want to be careful that we're not pulling too many points around and getting them all mixed up and things like that. We don't want to pull too many up here and not enough down here and that sort of thing. So just make sure you're being very careful with that. So once I have that set, let me go ahead and take this one back just a little bit and this one in. Once I have this set, we'll go ahead and we'll get it connected to the head. Now I want to work on some of the details here, so I'm just going to do a quick easy detail for the ear. We're not going to get in really intricate with the detail of a realistic ear. We're working with a cartoon type character here, so we'll inset that, and then from here I'm going to bevel that shape, and I'm going to take my inset or outline amount down a little bit, and then also my extrude amount. So we want to make sure that that is inside the ear, just like so. We'll hit OK. Now I just noticed that we have a lot of segments in here, so I'm going to double click on each one of these, hit Control Backspace. Now let's take this back polygon, and I'm going to push that in a little bit. And then with this, I'm going to inset that because we need something to connect to the back side here. So I'm going to pull that down a little bit, and then actually pull it out in the X. So it's going to create kind of this rounded shape along the back. Alright, now let's delete that polygon, and let's move this ear into place right up against the head, and then I'll rotate it, trying to get that shaped, and closer to the head itself, and that should be pretty good. If we go to our front view, we can see what that looks like, and then we need to rotate it out, and then pull it back out just a little bit. So that should match pretty closely right there. Now, we need to prepare the polygons for the head itself. So let's go to Editable Poly. Let's hit Alt-X. We don't need that any longer. And let's remove these 4 polygons right underneath the ear. So just hit Delete on those. And then we're going to attach this ear. And then we'll go to Vertex Mode, and we'll target weld the closest vertices to the ear. So I'm going to take from the ear to the head first. And it's going to look a little odd at first, but we will reshape it. So you'll notice that by deleting out 4 polygons, that left me with 8 sides, which is what I needed for my ear anyway. So we have 1 in here. There we go. And then we should have 1 more, I believe. I don't know if we've welded that one just yet. And we did. Okay, so that one is not together. Okay, I see it now. Hit Z if you want to zoom in on that, frame that a little bit closer. So we'll target weld from here to here, and there we go. So now this is completely attached. And now we want to do just a little bit more work. I'm going to select this polygon in the middle of the ear, and I'm going to hit Grow until I select all of the polygons on the outside of this ear. I'm going to pull that back in the Y a little bit, and you'll see how we've got a little bit of a piece of skin that attaches to that ear there. Now we can come in and go to Vertex Mode, and we can start to spread that out a little bit, make that a little bit easier of a transition into that shape of the ear. Okay, let me pull this down and in a little bit, and then we have this shape here, which I'm going to pull down. Now that is going to begin to change the shape and topology of our object, but that's perfectly fine here, as this is going to be hidden anyway. So we'll pull that up, and we'll pull it out a little bit. Okay. I'm going to take this one, I'm going to pull that back on the Y and the X, just kind of make it a little bit more of a flatter transition into that. Now we could come in and we could create another segment right down the middle of that, and we could reshape this if we wanted to. But I'm perfectly happy with that shape. It's a cartoon character, and so it's gonna look kind of odd anyway. Normally the ears aren't all that great. You know what? Let me look at this one more time. Let's go ahead and create one segment. Let's hit Control-Shift-S, and that's going to bring up our Swift Loop tool. And I'm going to cut right across this right here and hold down Shift, left click and drag, or hold down Shift and then left click to create that segment. Now with this segment, I'm going to go to Edge mode and double click on that. Let's turn on our edge constraints. I'm going to pull that all the way over to the right to where it snaps right into that ear and release, and then I'm going to pull it back over in the X. Okay, and let's pull it over just a little bit to where it's right in the middle here. And then let's grab our scale tool, and I'm going to scale that down in all three directions without my constraints on. And that'll create a little bit more of a shape in that ear. And then we can go to vertex mode and move these points individually if needed. It's going to get very close, so you just want to be careful of that. Okay. And I'll pull it forward in the Y. And that's just going to give us a little bit more shape whenever we turbo smooth that. So nice cartoony shape there. Good look for the ear. We might want to take the front of this and make it a little bit thinner. So I'm going to take these two polygons, pull those over in the X, and do just a little bit more shaping on this. Okay. So that looks better there. Alright, great. Now we don't want to leave that polygon set as 8 sides here, so we want to make sure that we cut. So let's right click and cut from here down to here, and then from here down to here. So now we've got that ear. It's now attached, and it looks pretty good with Turbo Smooth. Okay, and then we should have that on the other side. Go to your front view, and it looks to be matching pretty well. In our left view, hit Alt X, and you could do a little bit of tweaking on the vertices. Okay, so if you want to pull the points on the ear up a little bit to make that a little longer, change that up. Make sure you grab all of those and move them at the same time. And let's hit Alt X on our character. There we go. So now we've got this shape. We've got our character set. We've got everything built up to this point. We need to go ahead and select this eye. We're going to hit Alt X. I'm going to change its color and apply a material. And then if you want, you can come in and you can start to add a little bit more to the geometry here. So I can convert this to editable poly, and I can take, you know, this vertex right here on the end, hold down Control and go to polygon mode, and I could actually inset this in. So I'll inset that down to about the size of the pupil. And then I'll take that point that's on the inside and I'll push that in a little bit. Okay. And let me pull that out just a little bit more. And then I'm going to hit Control-Shift-S and hold down Shift right here in the middle of that segment. Push that in there. So that should create the eye there. Now you can come in and you can scale this a little bit more to where that fits into that eyelid a little bit better. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that over. And then the final thing to do on the eye is go ahead and grab that border that's on the inside. And then I'm going to hold down, with my scale tool, hold down Shift and drag that, scale it in. just so that way we don't have any extra geometry showing there. So Turbo Smooth's on, that's closed in. And let me pull that back just a little bit more. Sit right in there, and that looks great. Now let's apply a Turbo Smooth. And there's one of the eyes. And you can get a little bit more detailed with the eyes. However you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. It looks like I need to scale that just a little bit more. Pull that in. There we go. And then you just want to take the eye, go to your front view, hold down Shift, duplicate that over. And make it an instance so that way if you change one, it'll change the other. Okay, so it's going to sit right there inside of those lids there. Pull this over just a little bit more. Do the same thing over here in the opposite direction. Okay, so now we've got the character's eyes, and we've got the ears. Everything is set here on the mouth. So the final thing that we need to do is create the hair for this character and then get into the accessories. So we'll get into the hair next.